President Biden responds to a heckler calling for a ceasefire to the war in the Middle East. And the American Cancer Society recommends more adults should get screened for lung cancer. The Morning Rundown starts now.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world. This is the Morning Rundown.
Today is Thursday, November 2nd. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. President Joe Biden says he believes there should be a pause in the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. The president made those comments Wednesday night during a campaign fundraising event in Minneapolis when a heckler interrupted his speech calling for a ceasefire. According to reports, the heckler identified herself as a rabbi, asking the president to explain what he meant by a pause. Biden replied that a pause is needed to give time to get the hostages out of Gaza. The Biden administration has refused to call for a ceasefire since the conflict began, saying the U.S. would not tell Israel how to respond to Hamas's terror attack. In his response to the heckler, the president said, quote, "The fact of the matter is that Hamas is a terrorist organization, a flat-out terrorist organization." The president said he has been working with both the Israeli prime minister and Egyptian president on sending humanitarian aid into Gaza. On Wednesday, hundreds of foreign nationals and dozens of injured Palestinians were allowed to leave Gaza through the crossing with Egypt, becoming the first people to leave the territory since the fighting began. A Republican-led resolution to expel George Santos failed in the House on Wednesday night. The push for his expulsion was organized by fellow New York Republicans who say his past lies about his personal history and his slew of indictments, including federal charges, make him unfit for office. Santos has maintained his innocence. The resolution, which needed a two-thirds majority vote to pass, failed in a 179 to 213 vote, with 19 members voting present. Santos pleaded not guilty in court last week to charges that include lying to federal officials and stealing people's identities. His trial is set for September of 2024. Santos is also being investigated by the House Ethics Committee, which said it will have an announcement on a course of action on or before November 17th. A state of emergency was declared in one Kentucky county Wednesday after two workers became trapped following the collapse of a coal preparation plant. Hours later, it was confirmed one of the workers had died. According to the Martin County Sheriff's Office, the men were preparing the abandoned 11-story building for demolition, working on the bottom floor when the collapse occurred Tuesday night. First responders were able to locate and communicate with one of the men who was buried beneath tons of concrete and steel. Officials say that is the same worker who was confirmed dead hours later. The search for the second man is ongoing. Governor Andy Beshear signed the state of emergency executive order to allow the mobilization of state resources to the county. The CDC has announced the largest increase in infant mortality rate in the U.S. in 2 decades. According to the report released Wednesday, the U.S. infant mortality rate rose 3% in 2022 after declining for years, with researchers not yet sure if it's the start of a future trend. The CDC says white and Native American infants, infant boys, and babies born at 37 weeks or earlier saw significant death increases. There was an increase in 2 of the leading causes of infant deaths, maternal complications, and bacterial meningitis. 4 states saw significant increases in the infant mortality rate: Georgia, Iowa, Missouri, and Texas. Medical experts speculating on reasons behind the jump suggest the rise in RSV and flu infections last year and locations with limited access to maternity care could be contributing factors. The last year-over-year increase in the infant mortality rate occurred from 2001 to 2002. The American Cancer Society has updated its guidelines on who should be getting screened for lung cancer, saying it no longer is taken into account how many years someone has quit smoking. Based on the new guidelines published Wednesday, annual lung cancer screenings are now being recommended for current or past smokers, aged 50 to 80, who have smoked either 1 pack a day for 20 years or 2 packs a day for 10 years. An estimated 5 million more people will be eligible eligible for screenings under these new guidelines and is expected to prevent 21% more lung cancer deaths. These are the first updates to the ACS's lung cancer screening guidelines since 2013. Lung cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths in the United States. And finally this morning, history was made last night on the baseball diamond when the Texas Rangers defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-0 in Game 5 of the World Series to win the championship. This is the team's first World Series title in their 63-season franchise history. The Rangers actually date back to 1961 when the team was called the Washington Senators. They say everything is bigger in Texas, and that includes these celebrations following a World Series victory. After 63 seasons and 10,033 games, the Texas Rangers and their fans can celebrate being world champions. These are your top stories for this Thursday. Be sure to subscribe to the Morning Rundown newsletter to get your top stories each weekday morning. Just go to san.com/rundown to sign up. Unbiased, straight facts, that's Straight Arrow News. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great day.